Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first edition of the Front Row. You've just seen the very first fashion show on our festival. My name is Daniel Boey, and I'm the creative director, and I'd like to warmly welcome you to the Front Row. I've got two very special guests with me today. You've just seen the fashion show. I'm just going to jump straight into it and introduce the first of our guests. Her name is Jin Lee, and she's the designer behind the label Jin Lee that you've just seen in our virtual fashion show a little earlier on. We're going to be chatting with her about her label, her aspirations, her inspirations, and everything that you know about the Jin Lee label. Our second guest is simply known as theKANG, and he's the guy who collaborated with Jin to create those wonderful, bright, colorful accessories and bags that look as if they're made of leather and reptile skin. But actually, they're completely sustainable. We're going to find out a little later on what they're made of. So, welcome, Jin, and welcome, Kang.
Hi, Daniel.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, before we start, can I just raise a
Oh,
toast to the two of you? You're making
there you
history. You're
go.
the first to present a show right here at the front row. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah.
for having us. Thank you.
All right, let's jump straight into it. I'm going to ask you both why you started your label, what your inspiration was, and how you worked to create that aesthetic that is so strong in both your identities.
For me, I am mainly a self-taught artist designer person. I really like making things, so that's how I basically got started making fashion accessories. Just making something different that's not mass produced, not mass marketed, and I super enjoy working with unconventional materials as well. So that has definitely sort of created my brand signature in that sense. It's when I design, it's not so much like I start with a drawing. It's more I really enjoy like textures and patterns and materials. And so as I progress over the years, like within the last couple of years, I'm working extensively with plastic bags, upcycling them into this leather that's been made into all the
That we spoke
accessories you've
about.
seen in the show. Yeah. So from there, yeah, it's just a constant learning and growing process for me. So yeah, it's just it's always a process and always a journey. Yeah.
It's always a journey. Okay, speaking of journeys, the one thing that ties the both of you together is your strong and bold use of color. You know, you're both unashamed and unapologetic about your use of color.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I like the fact that you design for your customer, but you still have your own DNA, which is embedded in the label. And that's a very fine balance that a lot of designers struggle with. What about you,
Yeah.
Kang? How did you evolve?
I have to agree that the customers really do play a big part in sort of forming how we evolve. For me personally, because I do a lot of bespoke pieces, I really listen to every one of my customers, and also I'm quite thankful lah. My customers, they sometimes give me creative free rein, like they understand what I do, they get my aesthetic, and then they just say, okay, I just want maybe this color, that shape, and then the rest you can just do whatever you want. So the pieces for this
Mm.
show specifically was like just ideas that's accumulated in the last like 18 months. So from like bespoke requests, or I mean, I am only one mind, one brain. I can only think of so many things. So especially with the bags also, like consumers love that functional quality as well. So I'm starting to get more heavy into making bags. So yeah, for me, yeah. So it's a always evolving journey with my
Yeah.
fabulous customers. I love y'all.
That's fantastic. The fact that your customers trust you and trust your aesthetic means that you have uh, a certain aesthetic that that people know you for. Okay, very, very quickly, each of you have embarked on your own sustainability journey. Jin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you started your sustainability journey at the start of COVID. Tell us about each of your journeys. And Kang, very briefly, tell us about your business model for sustainability before we wrap up.
I think sustainability for me is still on a more consumer individual level because this is not something that I chose to set out on. I just from experimenting with materials, I ended up with plastic bags and then
Sure.
I just kind of sort of found myself on the bandwagon lah. Then I mean, since and I'm really happy working with this material, so it's just an ongoing thing, and with working with all this plastic, I got to collab with local musician Inch as well. So Inch herself is quite savvy with these issues. So from there, I am learning along the way about what actions to take to be sustainable. I think a lot of
Right.
it boils down to the consuming habits. Like mass consumption is like basically a giant no-no, but there are just like a lot of tiny steps that we can take in our daily life just to be a bit more mindful and conscious. That's why for me,
That's
most of my
really
pieces
fantastic.
are most of my pieces made to order, so I don't have things just lying around.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really do think this is the way of the future. So for all of you out there that are interested in purchasing any of Jin Lee's or theKANG's pieces, the links to their online store are here at the front row. For Jin Lee, you can also purchase her items from the Raffles City e-commerce platform, capitalmall.com. So with that, we've come to the end of our first designer chat at the front row. Thank you very much, Jin. Thank you very much, Kang,
Thank you
for
so
joining us.
much. Thank
And
you.
you've made history. You're the first designers to show here on the front row. But don't go away if you're at home or wherever you are watching us at the front row, because coming up, we have Max Tan. This is Daniel Boey. See you later.